Deputy Colm Keaveney. Deputy has 5 minutes.
On the government amendment, I'm grateful for obviously the opportunity, Colm, and I want to use my time to speak against the United Left Alliance's motion put forward to the House tonight. In recent weeks, I and many of my Labour colleagues have made our position clear with regard to the JLC rates, and absolutely our firm belief that this is an urgent matter of concern for this government. And no doubt it's a topic which deserves robust debate in this chamber. However, I have to say that the motion put forward by the United Left Alliance here this evening is hypocritical, to say the least. The United Left Alliance had their chance last week to vote in favour of the restoration of the minimum rates of pay in this country to $8.65, and ye voted against workers in this. You voted against workers in this country. You don't censor the truth. You don't censor the truth.
Deputy Keaveney,
you come forward with a motion here. You come forward with a motion here accusing a breach of solidarity with low-paid workers in this country. You fell in your solidarity in the first hurdle with low-paid workers in this country when you voted against the restoration of the minimum rates of pay. And can I say to you, restoring the minimum rates of pay puts €40 back into the pocket of working people in this country. And that €40 means the difference between whether a child can get to see a doctor or not, or whether €40 can be in the pocket of a parent when they go shopping to feed their children. You voted against the workers last week. Leaving that aside, the debate has to be on the principle, not on the personalities that are here spoofing about workers. I have no interest in attacking anybody for the sake of having an attack, but to single people out in this debate is a new law in the debate in this chamber. And we have to engage with the reality of the situation on the ground, and the reality across this country is that people are struggling, Minister, to put food on the table for their children. There is no doubt about that, and that is as a consequence of the previous government. But unlike the United Left Alliance, the Labour Party can't afford to live in a constant revolution. We have to deal with the reality of the situation. Now, I have given careful consideration last Concurla to the Duffy-Walsh report. The employment regulation orders and wage setting mechanism in this country. I and many of my Labour Party colleagues speak as one in that regard. And while it remains my opinion that cutting wages will not do anything for job creation in this country, I understand as well as anybody the position, Minister, that you've been put in as a consequence of the previous government's commitment to the EU and IMF, and in particular a document signed off with the EU and IMF under the Staff Memorandum Agreement in December 2011. But to my mind, Minister, the Duffy-Walsh report affords this government a considerable and viable roadmap to bring about reform which is widely accepted and agreed by the social partners and the trade union movement in this country. And there is no dispute in this government with regard to the need for reform. There is a wide range of consensus that reforms are necessary to change the basis in which we have carried a system for years and years that has been antiquated and needs significant reform, and we welcome that opportunity to be part of that reform. There are varying views within government about the scope in which that reform should take, and I'm fully confident that the Cabinet will make the right decision when this issue is laid on the table next week. Within the Duffy-Walsh report, there is no evidence to suggest that cutting wages will lead to job creation. There is no evidence that would suggest that if we cut pay, that we will see a corresponding growth in employment. And I personally fear that it would be a mistake to ignore a cohort of expert opinion in this area, and I feel that if we go down this road, we will find that it has the potential to be utterly destructive to the economy.
Deputies, 1 minute.
The central cause of failing business in this country and job losses in this country is the unprecedented collapse in consumer spending. And that fall, let me point you out, is 10 times greater in Ireland than in any of our Eurozone competing countries. Unsurprisingly, we can thank the previous government for that situation. A couple of weeks ago, I spoke in this chamber in support of the Jobs Initiative, a commendable attempt by this government to help people get their lives back in order and get back to work. So it is imperative that we remain mindful to what we're trying to achieve here, and we must avoid making any decision which counteracts the proposals that we're making. This government was elected on a promise on protecting people from the politics of the past, and I intend strongly to defend those promises, because there are people in this country who quite literally are hanging on by a thread, Minister. I spoke 2 weeks ago about the retailers in my constituency in East Galway who are facing the reality of that situation day in and day out. This is about keeping money in the pockets of working people and to ensure that they can go and attend their work with some element of dignity. It is not about personal tax or personal points that have been made here about red line issues. So again, I say to you, Minister, I want to see a situation that despite the conflict that we're hearing here today, we need to have the reform, but we need to protect the domestic economy. We need to protect the few bob that's in people's pockets to ensure that High Street Ireland can have the confidence that consumer spending will keep doors open. I look forward to the outcome of the deliberations that will be made at Cabinet, Minister. We look forward to the Cabinet collectively standing over a decision to protect working.
I know.